Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 159 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Holger and Sebastian from Subucoola in Germany. Let's go!
Hey.
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 What's up? I really like your night owl shirt. It's pretty cool.
You know, it's so soft. It's like cashmere. Kind of cashmere.
They have that special plastisol, I think.
Cashmere plastisol?
Yeah.
Dude. Well, like happy Monday.
I know. Yeah. Happy Monday.
We have to pretend like we haven't talked yet today. So how are things going?
Well, we didn't. I mean, we talked, but we didn't really talk about life or our feelings or each other. We talked about other stuff.
Biz. We talked biz.
Yeah.
Things
are good, man. I went to Nashville last week.
Yeah. What was that like?
It was cool. It was different. It was better than I don't want to say that sounding negatively, but it was better than I thought it was going to be for sure. Because the way I thought it was going to be this whole, selling us on things thing, but it wasn't really. It was good. We did like a lot of, it was for Printing United basically. Yeah, like we sat down, we did small groups on topics and on different, things like DuPont was there talking about inks, and then like Stalls was there, and there's a bunch of companies getting together talking about new things and whatnot. It was fun. Got to see some pals, got to see some Nashville.
Yeah. So like explain the format just briefly, what this thing was, because I decided not to go. And I mean, I don't know if I regret it or not, but it sounded like I don't think the industry has ever done anything like it. Right. So
not that I've gone to. Yeah.
So you were invited there, and it was a trip that was, they covered the expenses.
Yeah. It was like an invite only-ish kind of thing. Yeah, we went, and then it was like seminar, you get there, like welcoming kind of thing, like a stage, and they had like some speakers and talked and stuff. And then it was like, okay, cool. Like, see you tomorrow. And then, we did the same thing, kind of speakers. And then it was like, okay, let's break off into like small groups. So there was like CMYK groups basically. And we got together in separate groups, went into a room, and then, someone would come up, like say Stalls or something, and be like, talk about the new technologies and things that they're into, and then open up questions about their part of the market. And then we would talk about, them and different things that we're concerned about or like it or whatever. And then we'd write down like our notes on it, and then it would rotate to another speaker would come in and talk about their thing, and we would ask questions and go through the whole thing. So I think that was really cool because it opened up a lot of conversation on certain things. Like the funny thing is, like, Broder was there,
mm-hmm.
and then they came in and talked about how, what they're doing and their whole thing. And fucking me and Eric were texting each other like under the table, because Eric was in my group and Justin was in my group, and like some other people. And Eric texted me, he's like, do we fight for Andy's honor and like ask them about the print shops or whatever? And this guy, like they were just there doing their job. Like, these guys were talking, and they left out the print shop completely in their talk about what they do and everything. And we were texting, and I was like, I don't know, like, I really don't want to fucking ruin this guy's day, like he's just doing his job or whatever. And then Eric's like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing, like maybe we just don't say anything or whatever. And then there's this lady I've never met before, a shop owner, and she was like across from us, and she just went right into it. She's like, well, I guess I'll like talk about the elephant in the room, like you guys are our competition now or whatever. And they were like, no, we don't want to think of it that way. We're here to support you. And like, if you have overflow that you need stuff done, and it's kind of like a support, like if you need us, we're here or whatever. And then I was just kind of like, like you know, I get that, like you can say that now, but then eventually like you're making money from it. So, you know, you are and you aren't. Like you're there as much as the guy down the street is a contract shop and he wants my business too. Like any fucking printer's there.
Yeah. Well, I
But
want to say so much, but I think I've already said it. So
yeah.
so it sounds like though it was, you know, exchanging of ideas, trying to open
Yeah.
up conversations with some companies so they could get like the pulse maybe of directly from, you know, some operators. That sounds pretty cool. So
There was a lot of things like the next day was like we had one-on-one meetings with all the people, like all the different sponsors and stuff. And I ended up sitting down with a couple that really opened my eyes to some things. Like I talked to like Deco Network, and I talked to a couple people about DTG and DTF stuff. And then I talked to Printing United, and I really kind of want to talk to them more because they really are trying to do some cool stuff and stuff for the industry and whatnot. And I was just like, yeah, we need to have more of these like small group discussions that actually move the needle. Like, I don't want to sit down and talk about the same shit that everybody talks about all the time. I want to talk about what can we do in this industry to, and like one topic that I guess we could bring up in this episode if we want to is, and Justin brought it up on one of the panels, is just like, why, like, I feel like us as a collective need to get together and talk to the distributor and be like, hey, you should not open up availability to everybody. You know what I mean? Like anybody that has an EIN or anything can go to Broder and be like, our customers can go now create an account at SNS and Broder and all these other places and order shirts. So like we're seeing more and more that we get through full quoting and like artwork and mock-ups with a customer, and then at the end they're like, oh, I can order shirts. Like I'll supply my own shirts. And it's like, why? Like, why is there not like a barrier of entry to that of like, you have to be an accredited print shop, not just like a customer that can order blanks? Because then they were doing the whole thing of like, I know the pricing, I can order my own and blah, blah, blah. Why can't I get this from here? And it's like, dude.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know their customer base. I would be interested to see like a pie chart of, you know, from one of the distributors, like who they sell to. So yes, they sell to screen printers. Yeah, they sell to embroiderers. They sell to DTF. Do they sell to people who just resell blank shirts? You know, and so I'm sure that's out there. And so I'm just,
the problem is a lot of like clothing lines are going there and being like, oh, the smart thing for me to do is buy my own blanks.
Like I get it. Like some of our own people we print for do that.
But that should not be a thing. That should not be allowed.
I agree, but I don't know how.
And if it is allowed, they should not be getting the same price we are. It should be like, okay, we're say $5 for this blank. They should be paying $7 or $8.
I think it's complicated, and I think I fall on your side. I agree with you. However, I think it's complicated, and we need to have some more conversations about that. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying is like if we can get with a group like that has some weight behind it and go to sit down with the people who make the decisions and be like, hey, like this is kind of hurting us. It's like the race to the bottom thing. If we're constantly have to fight.
The only thing we do now, which we've talked about already, is that we charge if you're bringing your own shirts. It doesn't matter if they're brand new from SNS or Broder or whatever. We charge you, which some shops don't. And so all of a sudden we're going to lose that. So which really stinks. It's kind of crummy. So, but hey, we have an official announcement.
Okay.
You ready? So let's do this. We've talked about it. There's been some like a little bit of mentioning of it on, I don't know if like 1 or 2 episodes, but we are having a summer camp. And we have the dates. Everything is locked in. So can I give you a quick rundown, or you guys, I should say?
Hit me.
Here we go. So Friday, August 11th, arrival. And yeah. And we will do a happy hour. So like between 4 and 6, there's a happy hour at the hotel, which by the way, we've reserved a block of rooms at a certain hotel. And we'll meet up there and have a little happy hour. The next day is the camp. So Saturday. August 12th. Correct. And it kicks off at 8:30 in the morning. And just like a quick abbreviated version is we'll have a quick chat about what our goals are for the day, is what we're going to learn.
And our overall goal is what?
how to print the brightest white.
The best white.
Yeah. In the
Right.
world.
Yeah, in the world.
Right. You
So
know,
I
all
feel
the
like-
techniques.
Right. And I feel like that's the number one talk of any printer is, and it's not necessarily a talk, but it's like the goal is like, how do we get the best white and the best base to print all of our designs on? So the goal of this is to have all the key people that we talk to do that. Like the people I would call or you would call for advice on how to get that better.
Who we did call. Yeah.
Right. And we're going to have them all there and they're all going to walk us through each step of that process from screen to finished product.
Yeah. So it'll look like
and
this.
also reclaiming it.
Also reclaiming it. And we're going to split into 5 different groups. There'll be 5 different stations. And one of them, Ray from Avian, he's going to lead like this. He'll be on press and he'll demonstrate, you know, squeegee speed, squeegee pressure, off contact, squeegee angle, squeegee durometer, all of those things that produce the best result. Station 2 will have Frank, and we're going to demo the difference between standard thread and thin thread.
Right.
Station 3 will be our very own Kyle Caldwell with Kevin from Chromaline. Kev, they'll be in the screen room and they'll be discussing, you know, emotion over mesh and just all of everything that has to do with the screen room, what's important.
Creating the best
room.
screen. Yeah.
Yes. Station 4 is we're just going to start having camp stuff. You know, we'll be like, what do you do at camp? You know, we
roasting marshmallows.
You roast some marshmallows and we do you ever do the egg carry or the egg toss? We can do that. No, probably didn't ever do that.
A little differently in my house. Yeah. There's no spoon.
No, there'll be a reclaim. So we'll go over and talk to Easy Way. And so you can, you know, discuss, Alex is going to demonstrate how to reclaim screens and
also prepare screens to be best for coding.
Prep screens. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm going to give a shop tour. So we'll split off into little groups and I'll give you a tour of this place and how it came to be so shitty, as you like to put it.
Yeah.
And, we'll break for lunch. Of course, we're going to have hot dogs.
Yeah.
Only the best though. Only the best hot dogs.
We had, and to be clear, we're not joking. Like we had this discussion. We said they have to be really good hot dogs. Like they can't be shitty hot dogs.
No,
that's bullshit.
With the hot dog eating contest. No, you're going to sign waivers when you start that, when we begin. And then,
No, yeah, I agree.
Okay. And then we are going to wrap it up with a live studio audience shirt show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
Then there's also a happy hour with our Garage Dog Brewing. Kyle is going to brew us a special batch. Then we'll go to Din Din.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to put this together. Andy did 99% of the legwork, so thank you.
You did it more than 1%. You did.
But and I mean, it is your place, and it is, originally this started off when we were talking to Ray about how we should have him out and talk about how to print the best white, and it's kind of been a brainstorm since then. But it should be fun. If it's cool, then we'll try to do more of these. I think the thing is we're trying to get all the best minds in one spot to tackle a topic that's important to all of us. So
agree.
We're not trying to make this like a thing. We just had the opportunity and we want to do it. We want to hang out with you. So
a couple more mentions. SNS is providing the swag and the swag bags. Howard is going to be here demonstrating, like situations where maybe a transfer would be better. Nick Nicolucas from GraphX, they are doing art for our marketing and also art for the shirt that we'll be printing here. And there is a limited amount of space, which means there's a limited amount of tickets, which they go on sale. You can register on July the 1st.
Yeah. And it's not a lot either. We wanted it to be like intimate. So
Right.
First comes, first serve. So if you want to go, fucking hop on that shit. So it is going to be, for those of you who don't know, it will be in St. Louis at Andy's shop in Shirkon. So where do they go to find out all the information about this and sign up?
Our website is 99% done. And I guess when this airs, it'll be 100% done. You can go on there and
Go to shirtshowofficial.com.
And you won't be able to register until July 1st, Saturday.
Right. Okay.
Cool. I think that's it. I mean, we're looking forward to it. We can't wait to hang and talk shop, but also just have a little fun,
Yeah.
on a weekend. So come on out
I'm here.
and we'll learn some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Cool.
You have a good Father's Day.
I did. I got to mow 2 lawns. So fuck yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
mowed
how
at the
you-
shop and mowed at the house. It was fucking glorious. Here it comes. Frank. It's beautiful. Rolls off the tongue.
It all starts with a screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF,
Rank.com.
or
Greatfuckingscreens.com.
cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest way.
If you or your art department could use some love, then you need to go to 1-900-HOTStuff.com and get in touch with Nick or Lucas
Nick-Lucas.
at Graphics Source and let them run your art department so you can focus on running your business.
Yes.
Business.
Busiestness.
Right. Choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromaline. Go to chromaline.com to watch Kev's vids or contact him on Instagram at the Emulsion Guru and get the answers you
Need.
That's right.
Want.
Yeah, want and need.
Crave.
So here, check this out. If you are not using DTF or screen print transfers in your shop, then you are a moron.
Or a moron. Yeah. All right.
All right. I got it. I mean, we learned last time and I didn't forget. We have partnered with Howard Customs Transfers to get you the transfer you need and want fast. So check them out at howardct.com.
Yep. Great people,
Like
great
that?
products. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How's the Kong doing? We didn't really get to talk about that.
We are rotating through PTO vacations. It seems like, especially mid to late June, it's vacation time. So we've been doing that and it's been going pretty smooth. We're printing shirts.
Yeah.
I have a couple of issues that happened today. It's a Monday for sure. And which has inspired me to write down and create some SOPs, which I want to discuss later in the show, because we have failed. We have failed to convey certain, what would you call it? Certain processes to everyone here. And so I've got it here and I have a plan and I want to discuss it later. Cool?
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Okay. Let's wait until they're here so we can try once again to introduce them. And
perfectly. Yeah.
Man, we've been like bomb like lately. It's unbelievable.
I know. It's right on. What'd you do for Father's Day?
Well, in the morning I went for a walk with my mom. I visited where my dad is.
Nice.
Then I got home and just chilled for a little while. And then my kiddo came over and
Did he punch you in the nuts?
No. Is that your tradition up there?
Yeah. I just fucking drill my dad in the nuts when I see him.
No, that we didn't do that. But next year, maybe.
That's your goal as your kid, is to make sure there's no competition. Like your dad can't have more kids. So you just gotta fucking drill him in the nuts.
Well, I don't have anything to say about that.
What'd you grill? What'd you barbecue?
Turkey burgers.
Nice.
And I had slaw and baked beans. You would have loved it.
I would have. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I haven't had a turkey burger in so long.
And there was some cheddar on it.
Mm.
And we had, oh, well, so you've got to elevate your bun game, and here's how you do it. Ready? This is important. Brioche. Just one word.
Mhm. Yeah. Did you
That's how
butter
you do it.
them?
Olive oil.
Mm.
So I have a little spritzer,
Yep.
and you put it on the grill.
Yep.
Get the grill marks in there with a little bit of crispiness.
Mhm.
And on the outside, it's just brioche softness. A lot like this print. In fact,
Mhm.
like if I were to describe this even closer than cashmere, this is brioche. Eric has perfected the brioche technique.
You know Eric's gonna fucking use that for marketing now that his printing is the brioche of screen printing.
What does that mean even? Let's look it up.
It means whatever we want it to mean.
Hold on.
It's a thing
Google
now.
this. It says it's a bread of French origin whose high egg and butter content give it a rich and tender crumb.
Rich and tender. There you go. It describes Eric perfectly.
That's right.
I did have it was me, Eric and Val, Justin and his wife, and Brett and his wife, and we went to a bar in Nashville, and we just were walking, like trying to find one that we wanted to go into that wasn't fucking like bridal shower crazy and like, insane. We just wanted to sit down and watch live music. So we ended up going in, and because I picked one, I was like, let's go to this one. This guy looks cool. His drummer's doing cool, whatever. We went in and sat down at a booth that literally perfectly fit all of us. And it was right in front of the band. And there was no bass player. And me and Justin were like, oh, where's the bass player? I was like, he's probably taking a shit or whatever. And this guy comes out, this big dude, like big Southern looking fucking guy, cowboy boots, hat, like regular baseball hat, whatever. Comes out and he grabs the bass and he starts playing or whatever. And we're like, okay, cool. And then the song ends, and then they switched, and he switched to the guitar, and the guitarist switched to the bass, and the fucking dude shredded it. Like he was like ripping on the guitar. So me and Justin are like looking at each other like, this guy fucking rips. And then they played a couple songs, and he sang, and he was doing like old school country songs, and he was doing like, some newer cover stuff or whatever. And then they're like, all right, we got one song left. They played the last song. And again, this dude's fucking shredding it. And then Justin was looking him up on his phone, and his name is Chili Dog. There's this one guy named Chili Dog. Apparently he's famous on TikTok. And he says, I'll play one more song and it'll be Freebird if someone's willing to give us $100. Obviously fucking Justin pulls out $100, gives him $100. Dude plays Freebird with a fucking beer bottle on his finger, doing slides on his guitar. And then at the end of Freebird, when there's that long guitar solo, puts a beer in his mouth and he fucking chugs it while doing the solo. Fucking lights are going crazy. He's going crazy. Justin's screaming at the top of his lungs, Chili Dog. I'm looking over at Eric on my right, and Justin on my left, and they're fucking losing it, loving this thing. And it was the highlight of the night for sure, was just watching Chili Dog shred.
Wish I was there. Did you get any video?
Justin did. And it was fucking glorious. So props to Chili Dog.
Ready to stretch it out?
It's aggressive, but
I feel weird stretching without Frank.
yeah, it's kind of cheating on Frank, but it does feel good. I just went and played basketball before this, so I'm a little sweaty.
I ate fucking lunch at 10:30 because of you.
Because of me?
I like blaming stuff on you.
Yeah, cool.
Did you take your vitamins?
I did not take my vitamins today.
Look at this. Look at this.
I'm trying to get back on my
Oh,
routine.
here. Look at this. Did I show you this yet?
Oh God, you're at that point.
You hear that?
Cool. For those listening, he's holding up a
So we got,
pill holder.
Here's my, you know what that is? You recognize that guy right there? That's the
Viagra?
old. You know it. I got a double dose in there.
Oh yeah, brother. You got those at the gas station. Those are gas station boner pills.
Look at this fucking thing. It's like, seriously, look at this pill. Hold on.
Oh, the pill? Ugh, is that fish oil?
Yeah. It's a monster. But yeah, you need to get one of these at Target. I got this at Target.
No, I just get up in the morning and I open my 3 bottles and I
No,
grab a pill
no,
and I go.
no, you're supposed to do it. You're not supposed to do that on an empty stomach. You're supposed to have some food and then take your vitamins. Okay.
Okay,
I'll
sorry.
help. I'll call you later. We'll get this
All right,
straightened out.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help.
I know.
Okay.
I
All right.
appreciate it.
I'm looking after you.
The sharing of knowledge that grows us.
Mm.
Did a fun live print this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did I think I told you this before, but Dick's Sporting Goods is from here, like my hometown. Like they started here.
Really?
So like, yeah, like my whole life I thought that it was just like this local thing. And then I started traveling and I realized that they're all over the place. And I was like, holy shit, you guys have a Dick's? But yeah, like they're opening a House of Sport here. And it's supposed to be like their big, like, you know, hometown flagship one or whatever. And they got a hold of us to work together. And we made these really cool designs. And I'm hoping like it, you know, goes further than that. Like corporate looked at them and like the family members of the original Dicks were there and like saw them and were stoked. And I don't know, it was just fun. Like we just printed they had an employee orientation. It was something like 300 employees.
Dang.
And they wanted each employee to get a shirt, but they wanted like custom ones and fun and to be like a thing for them. So we just printed, you know, like 300 shirts, basically like 260 to 300. I can't remember. So we just
like
sat
they
there
were
and hung out.
in that situation, it was pre-sold. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
people didn't
yeah.
walk
Like
up
we
and
didn't have
buy.
to sell anything.
I like that.
Each employee just came up as they went through orientation and said that they want what they wanted, and we did them. It was fun.
Both you and I have been following today's guest for a long time now, and we're stoked to finally meet them face to face. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Holger and Sebastian from Subucoola. Oh, damn it.
Still counts.
I tried to stretch it out. Okay, there we go.
They're here. If we could just do the whole episode with your face that close, it would be awesome. There
Perfect.
you go. Oh yeah.
Oh, I see. Now we understand, huh? There you go,
Yeah.
boy. Big boy.
Perfect.
Perfect. I
What's
can
up,
show my
dudes?
tits as well. I have no problem with that.
Yes.
Yeah. Boobies. Yeah.
What's up, dudes? How are you?
Yeah, stressy day.
Yeah. A lot of things to do. Busy,
Yeah.
busy
So
season.
We're ruining that for you. We're making it worse.
No, a bit.
What makes it a busy season for you?
A lot of shirts to print, I guess.
He answered that question.
That makes sense. So, I mean, do you work with certain clients that for some reason they're in the summer? And first of all, is it even summer there? Is it summer in Germany?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
getting really hot
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we print for festivals, for bands. Yeah.
And it's that time of year.
Yeah.
For us,
It starts in April and goes over May into the summer till August, and then it's getting slower.
Are you guys feeling the same shit we're feeling with like the economy here and stuff? Is just kind of like it's been really weird, like for the past year, like a lot of ups and downs. Like it'll be a week when it's busy, and the next week's crickets, and the next week's busy, and the next week's crickets. Like, are you guys feeling that too, or are you pretty just normal?
This is our normal way. Because we're not so many people here. It's most of the time that one week is preparing the next week, and then it's hardcore.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the normal way here.
So it's been normal. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. You guys have kind of like a weird week structure though, don't you? Don't you take a day off to kind of like gather? How does that work?
Well, it's a Hardwoch. It's called Hardwoch. It's a word combination of Mittwoch, which means Wednesday, and hart, like hard. And it comes from hard. Hard is a stone. It's like stoned in English. And in the beginning, we were starting the morning with some deep breaths and a good breakfast. And we started to make our own stuff. and it came to the point where we said, hey, let's do a brand with this shit. Because
so originally you were doing it just for fun, like kind of like a team building exercise.
Yeah, the origin was the bachelor thesis from a very good friend of us, David Leutert. He's a very good illustrator, and we printed his stuff, and it was on a Wednesday. And after we finished printing, we settled down to took some deep breaths, and there it all started.
So how is that working out? Like, it's a staple now? You guys do it every week, or?
Yeah, it's like yeah,
Mostly
most of the time. In the very, very busy season, we sometimes have to say, not today, but we try to do it every week. Yeah, because as you may know, with the NYT club, you have to be consistent, and just 1 week off can ruin a lot of stuff, a lot of work you've done beforehand. So that's why we try to do it every week. Yeah,
That's pretty cool. So you just sit down as a collective and think of a design, and then you try to execute it?
Yeah, we make breakfast, and while that we are having conversations, what happens in the world, something like that, and then ideas just popping out, and there's another good illustrator on the table. We are from the printing side, and things come together. And say, oh, okay, I've got this idea in mind, and I heard about some specialty ink. Oh, that's a very good, very good way to test this ink in the graphic, and then we just do it. Yeah.
Now, you said that's your own retail brand? Like, how is that doing?
Depends on if we if we put ads online or not.
Mm-hmm.
The moment we enable ads, orders come in, and if we turn it off, it's really quiet. Yeah,
I'm learning that now. Like, I'm testing the waters, because this whole thing with me and like the NYT Co thing is just kind of like my way to test the waters with like having a brand and doing something that's specific. So for me, it's like kind of a case study on what works and what doesn't work. And like now I'm doing this thing where I hired a guy to do marketing and do like the Facebook ads and all this other stuff. But like, it's really weird how it works and like what photos work and what target cares about it, you know? When I came into this, I had the idea of like, oh, I'll just make some cool shit and like people will like it and people will share about it and like all this other stuff. And it's like, it's not that easy. Like, it's really not as easy as some people think it might be. Like, it's actually very difficult.
Yeah.
It's another business.
Yeah. But it's also something you have to pay attention to.
Where did you find the person you're outsourcing? You said your marketing. So whoever's doing your social media for this and you're outsourcing that, did you just find them online, or is it somebody local?
Well, I was talking to Garrett from Pine about doing some stuff here. We were talking about Pipe Drive, and then it turned into he referred a guy that he uses, and then I talked to that guy and had a meeting with him, and he's actually super into nature and like hiking and all that stuff, and kind of like that's what I was surrounding all my T-Co stuff around. And he was like, yeah, I do this, like, you know, here's my plan, I'd like to run with it. And I fully gave him control. I was like, do whatever you want to do and just report back to me of what works and what doesn't. You know, like I don't know, like I don't want to micromanage it and be like, oh, I think we should do this, I think we should do this, because I just don't know. Like, I'd rather tell him like, do everything you know to do and let's see what works and what doesn't. And it's been pretty interesting of like what's actually working and not. So is there anything that you guys have found that is like a good thing to do and a good thing not to do and whatnot? Like, are you just doing Facebook, or are you doing Instagram too? Or are you doing any other kind of marketing?
It's mostly Instagram. Facebook is part of it, and you manage everything over it with the ad manager and so.
Mhm.
But what works? For example, if you got a graphic which touches the emotions of the buyer,
Right.
that's 100% sell. Yeah.
Mhm. See, I'm doing the opposite. I'm doing Facebook and not necessarily Instagram. Like if I do Instagram, it's just me posting something, but I'm not putting anything behind it really. I'm just kind of like putting it out in the world, which is funny too, because like we talk about Facebook on the podcast once in a while, how it's so toxic and how people are just dickheads constantly. And it's funny, like, because it's so every comment I think I've ever gotten, other than like a thumbs up or something on Facebook, has been a dickhead comment. It's been like, I like this shirt, but why doesn't it come in other colors? Or
classic.
You know, like the t-shirt, like I have this one that does really well because it's a local food that like a lot of people like. It's called their chicken speedies, and a lot of people are like, oh, they actually originated in Enwell and not Binghamton. And it's like, okay, well, all the speedy places that I like, the only ones that I like eat at are in Binghamton, and the festival for it is in Binghamton. So it's like I'm associating it with Binghamton. And some people are like, well, actually the original one was pork. And it's like, dude, fuck off. Like, just shut up. Like, if you don't like it, just don't say anything. And it's just like all these comments that are just like, it's just like, dude, buy the shirt or don't. Like, I don't give a shit about your feedback.
Yeah,
like,
but is Facebook still a thing in the US? But it seems
be.
like it's dying here. It's really only old people here.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same.
You don't have the youth in it. So I guess our generation or the generation after us, we are almost 40 now. So I guess Facebook is dying. So
yeah, I hate it. But like I said, from data, people were saying like Facebook was best to do what I'm trying to do on. So like again, it's a test. Like I want to let it ride and see what happens, and then we can evaluate in a month and then be like, all right, well, let's try to use the same strategy on Instagram or TikTok.
I think Facebook, why Facebook is so good if you're trying to market is that, you know, they have the demographic, you know, so you can go in and you can target exactly who you want to target. You know, people have entered in personal information about themselves, whether it's their age or what they like to do, for example, hiking and stuff. And you can go find those people with Facebook and then put money on it, and it goes directly, like they see it if they actually sign into Facebook anymore, you know. But so I guess that's what you're up against.
Yeah.
So
how did you guys get involved in printing? How did you meet?
Well, you have to go a bit more back because because of the educational system in Germany, the normal way is like 9 or 10 years of school, and after that you can go to a higher level education for university entrance, or you decide to learn a craft and via a apprenticeship. This is the normal way. So you make you go out of the school and go to a company, apply for, and if they like your resume or your marks, they say, yeah, okay, for the next 3 years you can make an apprenticeship. And then the apprenticeship,
I love that. Like, I wish the US did that. Like,
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
it is so not that here, and I struggle with that so much. Like when I was in school, it was like learn these facts, recite them. Like it was just memorizing the book. There wasn't any hands-on.
That's the same here. No question asked.
Right, but
that's the same.
Like right after that, you go
but after that, yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's what should happen. It should be like, you know, 1st grade through 9th grade. And then after that, it's like you have 3 years, like you're saying, of learning a trade or going to work at a company that you could possibly get a job at in the future.
Yeah. And then you have, most of the time it's like 3 years. Depends on your marks and something like that. You can make it a bit shorter, but let's say it's 3 years, and we both come from another state in Germany, and because there are not many printers apprenticeships, they put all together in one school for the vocational training center. It's like it's the theoretical part of your apprenticeship where you learn all the theory. You have to go there for 2 weeks, and then you go 3 weeks back in the company, 2 weeks back in the vocational training center, and so on, like 3 years. And in the end of these 3 years, you have to make a theoretical exam and a practical, and then you get your certificate, which says, yeah, you're a printer now, or not.
What made you
Right.
at such a young age choose printing? You know, like why, how did you even know to choose printing?
Oh,
Well, that's a very good question.
yeah.
Want to answer first?
My uncle has a envelope print factory, and yeah, that was my choice to get a job.
Were you hoping
That's
to
it.
go from that to his factory?
Yeah, I was in his factory for 8 years. Yeah, and then I go to another city. Yeah.
And then decided to get into screen printing?
Yeah, 2 years later, I had I had a side hustle. I make shirts for family and friends, and then then we decided to yeah, make a screen print factory.
It's awesome. So what did you do then? Like, did you just went for printing and just said, fuck it, let's see what happens?
No, I would say I was not made for the school system like any of us.
Yes, exactly.
I always sat there and I didn't knew why I was there. I was just there. So like in the end
It's-
of these 10 years,
It's just
yeah,
the
like
one you picked.
yeah, where my parents put me.
Okay.
So and after this 10 years, everyone else was getting already his their apprenticeships and so, and I was like, oh, I should apply, but it's just 3 weeks left before the exams. Okay, I've wrote them, I've never sent them, and a week before the end of the school, the what is the principal, the highest
Yeah.
in the school, came in and said, who got no apprenticeship? And there were my arm raising up.
Just you.
Just me. So yeah, come afterwards and I give you the number for the print shop. And it was a small printing business, offset printing.
So that's awesome. That fucking worked out then.
Yeah, the moment I realized, okay, you have to see opportunities and say yes. And yeah.
That's
And
really cool
then
though. That like I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that his bottom of the barrel for the one guy who didn't get an apprenticeship was to go to a print shop.
Well, I didn't even know what to expect. I never thought about where are coming newspapers from, business cards or whatever. And but the moment I get there, I saw my boss, and he was like 23 years old because he had to run the business because his father died a couple of years beforehand. So, and he was something like, he was similar, not a good pupil, bad marks, just doing his thing.
Right.
But and he saw my marks, like really bad marks, but he said, if you work here and do your stuff, I don't care about your marks. So,
Right.
and this was something like that blew my mind already. And I took the chance, and I found my passion instantly.
Couple things.
What were you? Oh, go ahead.
I was curious about a couple things. One, is the apprenticeship paid? So are you paid at all
Yeah.
for that?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's a small. It's not a big pay. As it's just to that your costs are yeah.
It's like a minimum wage.
Yeah, something
sort of
like
thing.
that. Yeah.
And do you live at home still, or do you move to wherever that is in whatever city that's in, or do you still live at home with your parents?
At that point, I was living at home, yeah, but already driving every night to my girlfriend because it was like in a circle of 10 kilometers, like 6 miles or so. Yeah.
All right. My
That's not
last
bad.
question is, where does that ladder go to? Is that
The ladder behind you.
yeah, behind you? Where does that go upstairs?
Yeah.
Directly behind you.
Yeah. There is another. We got very high rooms, so we use space. Yeah.
So it's like a loft.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
what
indeed.
did he end up putting you in the offset place? Like, what was your role? What were you doing?
For me, it was just like 1.5, 2 months. You're watching, you're listening, and then you get your first jobs. I said, okay, now print this shit.
Do this. And what
Do
were you
this.
doing? What were you doing at your uncle's envelope factory?
Yeah, similar to Holger, and then I printed on a American press. It called Halm Jet Press. It's it's a press for envelopes, and a normal job was 200 envelopes for insurances or something else,
Right.
and 200,000 a day.
So you just did that all day, every day.
Yeah.
So
all
what
day
did
long.
what did your uncle think when you decided that I'm guessing you just decided one day I don't want to do this anymore and I want to start my own thing?
Oh, he was not very excited that. But yeah, what they couldn't do anything.
Right.
But family is sometimes it's what's the word?
Difficult.
For it? It's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not invited to any Christmases over there anymore, or any
He
family
has to
reunions.
he has to
No.
hand make all of his envelopes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love my family. It's a long time ago.
Yeah. So in this scenario, you guys met at the school or you met after the fact?
Yeah.
Yeah. We came too late to the first lesson. And then we got the last table in front of the teacher. It was brilliant. And yeah, that's the beginning of a friendship.
Yeah.
So
and
you're
we
working at
went
one
to the
place?
same room in the hostel, and it's like I guess hostel is not the right word, but it's like a hotel for the pupils.
Like a dormitory,
like
maybe?
dorm, yeah, right. So you have 4 people in one room, and yeah.
That's cool. So you're working at one place that's doing envelopes and you're working at an offset place, and then you guys still are hanging out then and saying, hey, we should do something together?
Yeah, after the apprenticeship, we stayed in contact because we have this. I guess we have the same humor, and we laugh a lot. And yeah, there was something. Also, the passion for printing. We both so much into it, just from the bottom of our hearts. And Sebastian made a second apprenticeship for digital printing, but everything on paper. And I was going to study something called in English print media management. It's like print machine engineering, including the business administration part. So normally after you study this, you go into CEO positions of print shops because you have an overview of everything.
That's cool.
So yeah. And when was it? 2009 was the economic crisis, I guess, something like that. And I had to make an internship and couldn't find a paid internship. So, and we had a phone call, and he told me he started his side hustle here in Nuremberg while being in a digital printing shop where he made photo books and stuff. Yeah, right. And I jokingly said, okay, then I make my internship just at your side hustle. So, and there was just a bit silence, and we laughed a lot. And then so, okay, let's do this. So I made my internship at this side hustle, and this was a half year of a lot of wine. Wine, and he had a three-shift contract, and so the side hustle was like all 3 weeks was the shop open, something like that.
Yeah.
And when I came, we could make normal opening times. And what did I do? The web shop.
The web shop,
Yeah.
yeah. But in the first time, we didn't sell any shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know about this business. We know there are other companies. They get their money, but how can we do that?
Yeah.
Right.
That was our question. Yeah.
So what did you guys end up doing that kind of like
Drinking
made
wine.
it work?
Yeah.
Just drinking a lot of wine.
Drinking wine. Waiting for the opportunity to say yes.
So do you
That's
have
awesome.
do you have a storefront with a sign?
Yeah. It was
Okay.
it was a little store, like 16 square meter. I don't know how much these are, but it's a small room. It's a very small room, and there was a very nice. It was a very nice shop, but we mainly used the time to prepare organization. Preparing sheets, whenever a job comes in, how do we finish this one, and how can we document it, and so on and so on.
The workflow.
Yeah, right.
So you took the time to prepare and like learn what you needed to do when something came in.
Yeah, and slowly but surely, step by step. At first, we bought the finished shirts, then we bought a transfer press, then we bought the vinyls to print it ourselves. Then we bought a plotter, a vinyl plotter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Vinyl plotter. So after that, we started with screen printing transfers, and step by step, we got into the slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys take any of your knowledge from the offset stuff to this, or was it kind of just like a whole new world, basically?
Yeah. The Grundkenntnisse.
Yeah, basic knowledge is in every print technique the same. And when you make this apprenticeship, you're not just learning offset, you learn every printing technique. So you have a good overview about everything. You don't know the specific things, like for example, when you learn offset printing, you don't know shit about EOM or RZ, right? But you know how to expose, you need an emulsion, stuff like that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you got a very good overview about every printing technique, and it's much easier to get into it, I would say.
So you have like an overview of what needs to happen, but you have no like actual life experience of doing those things.
Right. It's a theoretical knowledge. Right. Yeah.
So this is at what time? 2009, 10 that you guys are studying?
Okay. I've studied from 2005 to 2010. Yeah.
But when did the shop start? When did the side hustle become a business?
2006, I guess. Yeah, 2006.
Yeah, but 2006 was your side hustle beginning. But actually becoming the main hustle was 2010.
Yeah.
2010. Okay. So you were coming right out about the same time as me. It's the 2009, 2010, coming out of that economy thing. You guys have said, let's just do it. Like, let's make this a full-time thing. And by then you had some jobs and less wine, or 50-50 wine jobs.
Yeah. It depended. It was like, it was every month we could pay our bills, and we had something left over. And yeah, the moment we got some money over to spare, we spent it on machines, vinyl stuff, just to grow the business slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So I have a question. I want to talk SOPs just for a second because
Mhm.
I walked by a press. I actually walked by a dryer this morning, and shirts were coming off of the dryer, and it was a puff ink job, and it wasn't quite puff enough. Like it could have been a better puff. And so as I walked over towards the press, I noticed that there were a couple of things that we could have changed, a couple of variables that we could have changed to improve how much ink we're laying down. Because when it comes to puff, a lot of times it's how much ink are you laying down so you can get that puff effect. Well, there are variables. They didn't have the right squeegee angle. They didn't have the right squeegee durometer. And I think also they didn't have the right pressure on one of them. And I thought to myself, well, whose fault is this? This is our production manager's fault, but ultimately my fault. Like, why don't they know? Why doesn't that press know? Because we have multiple presses, and why doesn't every team know when they go to set up a puff job that exactly what to do? I'm going to set my angle of this. I'm going to use these type of squeegees and so on. And so we have a lot of SOPs here, but we do not have one specifically for puff. And that got me thinking, like, we actually don't have one for some other things. And so I guess my question is how do you convey that information?
I print most of the stuff, so it's all in my head. And now we have an apprentice, and I thought about SOPs, and I'm probably gonna do that, because especially when you have a lot of people going around here and interns, you don't have to tell every time the fucking same shit. So yeah.
We're guilty of that too. Like, we have a couple key people that know all the details and know all the everything, but we don't have it written down either. So it's something that we're working on as well. So I'm in the same boat as you. It's like, I just need to get it down and figure out a way how to get it down. So,
well, it's like with puff, it's one of those tricky inks to print. Yeah. And we've only just learned, I would say, in the past year or two, how to like perfect it. And it's still tricky because it reacts differently on different sort of shirts. Or if you're printing fleece, there's like all of these, we could have this SOP, but we really need to have one for t-shirts and one for fleece, because it's going to be different. And, also what mesh we use. So Kyle knows from the screen room that what mesh we like. We like we like a 140 thin thread for it, and we don't like to go higher than that because we're trying to put down a large percentage of puff. We like an angle of 25, and we like all these different things. And but all the press ops don't know that. And sometimes, or if they do, maybe a press assistant is the one who's putting the squeegee in and doesn't check angle. He's like, hey, we're good to go. And so, I think there's just too many people that are required to memorize this, and that's just the wrong way to do it. So we need to have
I guess the question is, what do you do though? Like, do you make a laminated chart by each press that says standard plastisol, puff, glitter, discharge, like all these things, and then have the steps, like literally like a chart of like squeegee angle, dryer temp, do they get laid out separately at the end of the dryer? Or are they stacked? Like, do you do that? Because I mean, that to me, that would be what comes to mind. Like, what I should do is like, okay, here's a visual chart right next to the print operator that says this is how we're doing this job.
Well, we met and we sort of discussed our plan, and what we're going to try anyway is to do that. So yeah, you're right. It needs to go into a binder, like a print binder, or maybe even up posted. But also it's going to go on our proof. And so we have information on our proof, like print order. Actually, that's a separate proof, but we have information on our proof. Like, for example, if something's PFP'd, it'll say, hey, this is white ink and it's it's PFP, just so we know. So otherwise they're always asking, they're like, hey, is this just one hit of white? Or are we PFPing the white?
Right.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
And so we thought we would just stick it on the proof and then also have just a quickie, like a 5-minute clinic one morning before work, 5 minutes that says, hey, okay, here's how we print puff real quick. Here are the different things we're going to use. By the way, it's going to be posted right here, just like you said. It can be hanging on a laminated hanging there. It's posted right here if you have any questions. So that when they do a final and the designer walks out to approve that final, the designer knows and can even ask, like, hey, is everything checked? Like we've got the right stuff. So this just never happens again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you guys do anything like that? Because you were saying in the beginning you took that downtime to like prep and make stuff. Do you kind of do that on your Wednesdays? Do you kind of think of ways to improve systems and processes?
No, that's more a thing of the time at the din or our private time. We never let go of the shop, so we always talk shop. So because we are the shop, so
yeah,
obviously we use that time. We have an approving
Isn't it
process.
funny how that works out though too? Like,
yeah.
Like even here, like me and Bill and Brian or something could like be going to the movies or playing basketball, but the whole time we're talking about work. Like we're talking about shop stuff. It never leaves us ever.
I always have to say, for me personal, it's not work. It's just a living passion. So it's for me, it's no problem to have 18 or 20-hour days or to talk the whole time about screen printing because it doesn't feel like work. I'm not stressed about it, I can't hear enough about it.
Yeah. Well,
not every day.
I interrupted. Continue how you guys go through your systems and stuff.
Yeah, we got a job description from Sebastian. Sebastian is the first part. Customers, he makes the customer service and he prepares the print data and makes a job description. I go there, or our apprenticeship goes there, our apprentice. And with the job description, I know everything I need to know. There are all data about textiles, the inks, where I find the films, how do they look like, and there's a preview of the print, where should it be printed, and usually everything is 100%, and I just follow my instruction on the job description, and then I make one print on an original textile, and then I go to him, and he recheck everything.
Yeah.
So in case, or in like you said, Andy, if I see something isn't working like it should be, or it doesn't look like it should be, I don't go to Sebastian. So the moment I'm 100% sure this is how it should look like, I go to Sebastian to approve it. And then and if it's a complicated print, I hang it on a dryer with magnets, so I can always look at it and can compare it. Okay, yeah, there's something that doesn't work right well. I have to change variables.
That's a pretty cool shop hack, actually, is to take the good print or the one that they're all supposed to look like and magnet it to the dryer.
Yeah.
So they can hold it next to it the entire time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially halftones. Yeah, for wet printing and stuff. Yeah.
I have another question. Do you time track your steps or your jobs to post calculated?
We don't. We've talked about it, but I feel like a lot of talk and stuff like that is more with a shop that's trying to do high volume all the time and to see where they can shave off seconds and stuff. My thought on the whole thing has always been like, if we're more of a lax shop, you're trying to save 10 seconds on doing this or doing it this way, but then that all goes down the drain when that person goes outside for a smoke break or goes to the bathroom for half an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
I've always talked about it. Like me and Bill have been doing over the past like year a lot of stuff like that. Like what can we improve on? And that's been a talk of ours now of like, okay, for a month or more, let's manually track setup times and teardowns, and that way we can schedule better. But that's kind of only really the focus is to schedule better, not necessarily pump out more jobs a day. Andy, what do you guys do?
Yeah, so we have a manual way to do it that we do enter in the data every day to the computer, but we need to, that's kind of a tedious process. And so what we're doing, quality control at the end of the dryer, they're time tracking every single job. And then we enter it in to a dashboard. And so we can look at the performance on each press. And so that's all fine and dandy, but what are we doing with that data? Because I think that's the important part. And so far we haven't been really using that data the way we should be, or the way we could be. It's been enlightening really, because, if you would have asked me, percentages of printing versus setup, I would have guessed differently than what it actually is, because I would have always said, oh, we're printing way more than the time we're taking to print is way more than the time we're taking to set up, but that's not actually the case. And on different presses, it is a little, it does vary, because we have we have a 10 color, 12 color, 14. The 8 color does all the 1, 2, 3 color work, or most of it, and that sets up differently. So this isn't a perfect, the problem with our dashboard now is it's not perfect, because it doesn't weight like setup times versus, like if you were printing a 1 color job versus a 9 color job, that's difficult. And then also, what if a press sets up in the morning, a 5 color job, and that's all they print all day? Well, then their numbers are going to look fantastic. Their output is huge, and their numbers are really good versus a press that's set up and tearing down 100-piece orders, all day. And so I think it's, we need to figure out a way to weight the dashboard, which, by the way, Ryan Kasperian has built. And that's what he talked about, was the last couple episodes ago, is that he's going to finish out building that while working for this new thing. He's gonna have more time, because it's kind of complicated. And we've done a couple of Zoom calls on how to make this performance, what did I call it, this dashboard, a little better, because I think it's really important. We've had things in the past too, where you have a press team, like it can even help with HR issues. Let's say you have a press team that thinks they're the baddest motherfuckers. And well, are they? Because, you can look at the data, like, what is your press outputting? Is it the best? We don't know. And so I think that competition thing, and also, if there's competition and let's say you're posting, like, everybody knows what you're really doing. And also, which is really important, we've talked about this before, Dylan, is mistakes too, because just because you're outputting the most, do you have the most mistakes, or where does that fall also? So it gets really complicated. And I think for HR issues, it's really good. I think for when you're talking about performance reviews annually, and we're going to sit in here and talk about, what your goals were and did you achieve them? And here's your performance on this press, and which press teams work better together, because we have to find people that can stand next to each other all day for 8 hours and get along, And so that's sometimes a challenge. I don't know. That's a long answer. I'll go grab the sheet real quick if you want to see it. Be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron. Is there anything that you guys notice over there in Germany as far as like industry stuff? Like, is there a lot of things to get involved with, or are you kind of on your own?
We don't look very much to the left and the right. So what is nice is there are forming groups like in the US, where printers come together. That's nice. Even the biggies. And they're really cool guys. And I guess these days we will found an association, and to have a bigger stand, especially for buying stuff. I don't know the English term, if you so that you can buy bigger. And
I get it.
Get better prices and so on, something like that, and or to yeah, how to say it? There are some textile companies who try to dictate stuff, so how you have to handle certain things. And as one print shop, you can't say anything because they don't give a shit. But
Right.
if you're getting a group of 50, 60, 70 print shops who make a decent amount of money, you have a voice, and
Right.
that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we were talking about before you guys got on, because I just got back from an industry event that was kind of like that, where my discussion at the end of it was just like, we need to, like, it's cool to go to an event and you hear people talk and you're like, you think in your head of like, cool, I could implement this in my shop, or it inspires you to do something. But I feel like I'm at the point with some things where I'd like to get more involved to actually change some shit that we just like bitch about all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we might complain that these people do this, or this isn't a certain way, or we don't know the rules for this. It's like, how do we actually do something about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one discussion that me and Andy were having was that our suppliers over here are offering accounts to anybody at this point. Like a clothing line, or our customers can go sign up to get blanks, and then they come to us and they're like, oh, I can get my own blanks, I want a special
Yeah.
price. And it's like, well, why are they allowed to order the same blanks at the same price that we are?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It kind of doesn't make sense. So that's why I was saying, like, it'd be cool to get together with some printers that make a difference and be like, hey, like, how do we stop this? Or how do
Yeah.
we change this? Or how do we make this better for you? Like, we're not trying to take business away from you.
Yeah.
But can we
Right.
figure out a better way to go about it to where it helps us all and isn't like a race to the bottom? So I didn't know if you guys, it kind of seems like you like to stay in your lane over there. And
Yeah. It's nice to I guess let's say it this way, I love to connect with other printers, and it's like with you guys, I don't have any secrets, or I like to share tips, I like to answer questions when I have the time to.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, it's like we talk on Instagram and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
if we have questions or concerns or whatever, we'll
yeah,
hash it out.
and I really love that. And I guess as a group, we are just stronger against such ways of doing business. So
Right. I understand.
There is a saying about trees, why they got so successful in the Earth's history, and not about competition. They do not competition. They connecting each other. They make a network like this podcast.
Yeah.
That's why they got so successful.
Yeah, because they all banded together.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So here's the sheet off of a press. So this is the morning, because it's kind of early here. It's only 12.
So each
something.
press gets a
But-
sheet per day, and then they're handing in that sheet to who? You?
They're turning the sheet into Alex or Brandon, and they enter this data in our software, and then it shows it on our dashboard.
why not instantly on the digital?
Yes, exactly. So
Well,
that's
that's
why
what Ryan's trying to make, right?
so we want to be able to have a same sheet that then somehow zaps or whatever it does over to that dashboard automatically, so that instead you're right, they have an iPad and they just entered it digitally instead of like this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, right.
it's not there yet, almost. But this is something that we can do to say, like, this is a really good thing to track misprints and stuff, right? So it's just right on there, and we know that this morning there wasn't one, but maybe there's one this afternoon, and we can track which press, how many misprints per press, and why. Like, why are these happening?
Yeah.
Is it inevitable? Is it print operator error, or like what is the reason this is happening? Not because they're in trouble, but just so how we can reduce them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you guys got going on? What's new? Like, I mean, we talked about how you got to where you are, and you're doing the printing and you're doing the customer service stuff. Like, what's next for you guys? What do you want to get into? What do you want to grow and be passionate about?
Yeah, the main goal on the long run is to just have our own brand and just do the finest stuff job-wise. So, and the next step for that is we want to sell our 6-color, and we want to get 12 by 14 in XL, and we want to print on textile sheets and cut and sew in-house. That is our
cool.
long-time goal. Goal. That's
You're-
our long-time girl. That's our little sweetie.
It's cool that you want to go that route, because it seems like it's usually the other way around. Like someone starts a brand and then they get into printing for other people, and then it turns into this like, you know, big project or big thing. It's cool that you guys want to go the other route, because you've noticed what you're actually passionate about.
Yeah,
which is the brand.
Definitely, yeah. So the brand is not just a brand for us. It's the main goal of our doing is always leaving this planet a bit better than we found it. So
it's awesome.
That's why with every sold shirt we donate €5 for a specific cause. Depends on the collection where the shirt is from. And so it's not about making as much money as possible. It's much more about doing good. Yeah.
I agree with that. I'm doing the same thing with the New York thing, is I'm donating money from every shirt to the New York State parks.
Nice.
But yeah, I agree with that. I mean, do you see like natural growth with the brand? Like, do you see it being a thing where this is like, oh, cool, like we can sustain and have a company with a couple people continually doing this?
Definitely, but we have to put in more time. Definitely, yeah.
So the regular print shop stuff is eating up too much of that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, are you guys just selling that as like, do you have like a storefront that you're selling all that stuff in, or
No.
is it just online?
Just online. Yeah. No storefront. No customers in here.
Well, with that long-term plan, is that a plan to have it in retail or just to continue with online sales?
Guess never thought about. Not yet.
Oh, I guess only online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a people guy.
Really? I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I have a strong feeling about these connections, and if there's a connection, everything's fine. But there are so many people where I don't get this connection, and I rather would be alone.
So what you're saying is that we all have a strong, loving connection.
Yeah,
with each other,
you're whispering. It's your whispering.
Right. I get it. See, Andy, fuck you. They like it. You always tell me. You say that people don't like my whispers. Remember that YouTube comment that was like, "Keep the whispering or not keep the whispering."
I don't know. I think that's a little unfair accusation. Hey, I have some over unders. You want to do it?
All right. Yes.
All right. So I'm going to say something, and you say whether it's overrated, underrated, or it could be properly rated. Number one.
Weißt du, was damit gemeint ist?
Nee, sag
Jetzt
mal.
kommt ein Vergleich und dann zum Beispiel Schokoeis oder Vanilleeis. Und dann sagst du, okay, was ist Schokoeis zum Beispiel overrated? Weißt du?
Was overrated?
Überbewertet.
Ja. Ach so, ich dachte.
Überbewertet, unterbewertet.
Underestimated.
Underestimated, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Yeah.
unterschätzt.
I love this so much.
Okay.
Like if you're going to say something is on a scale of 1 to 10, like, hey, this is really great.
Yeah.
And do you think that
Okay.
a lot of people in the world currently think that, hey, it's not really that great. It's actually worse than everyone thinks. That would be overrated. Okay. So the first one is bagels.
Overrated.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Hey, bagels are not a thing in Germany.
Yeah. Bretzels.
Bretzels are here
Which
in
is
Bavaria,
funny.
bretzels.
Which is funny because we had this discussion yesterday at the live print, because there's I mean, I don't know if you guys have it, but there's a pretzel place in the mall, and Bill kept saying like, "Oh, I go get a pretzel," and I was like, "I don't really like pretzels."
Yeah.
Like, so you guys like pretzels, and I like bagels. See, I'm from New York, so like bagels are a big deal.
Well,
for
there's
us.
going our connection.
It's broken now. Pretzel, broken pretzel in half. I think bagels are underrated because I like bagels for everything, like a bagel sandwich, a bagel with cream cheese, like
For sure.
fresh bagels. I mean, it's just you're just eating round bread. I mean,
But it's
good.
kind of sweet, isn't it?
No,
There's different kinds. So you can have
Yeah.
plain bagels. There's poppy seed, sesame seed, like there's all different here in
There's a
America
million.
anyway. There's a lot of bagels.
there's a lot.
But-
yeah.
Yeah.
Why is there a hole?
Yeah. That's what she did.
That's there you go. That's, I,
All right.
I don't know.
Next, we have the M&R hothead.
Ooh,
Underrated. I have no idea. You don't like that answer.
I feel like it's in the middle because I like a lot about it, but I don't like a lot about it. After using it for so long, we had one on every press. We used it for a lot of items, but the thing is, the problem with it is that it travels. So
Yeah, if there's not enough tech, yeah.
if there's not enough tack, or if it's a certain item that has a little bit of extra material to it, it'll pull it out of registration.
Yeah.
So we came more to the realization that we like more something like the stamp that is straight up and straight down.
Yeah. Same.
So to answer that question, I have 3 hotheads. If somebody wants to buy one, they're sitting on the shelf.
Hmm. All right. Number 3. T.
Tea?
Yeah, not T-shirt, just T, T-E-A.
Coffee person. So, but
What
I
about-
guess it's underrated. There's a lot of good tea
Yeah.
out there.
I don't like hot tea. I like cold tea, iced tea.
Yeah.
So you know my answer already.
I need some more tea in my life. Number 4.
Mm.
What does that say? Oh, losing.
Losing?
Losing.
Underrated.
Underrated.
Completely
Yeah.
underrated. The whole
Yeah.
world, like 90.99999% underrated.
Can you so
Losing is the
explain
best
why?
thing losing is one of the best ways to learn something.
Mhm.
And I love to lose. That's why I play fucking chess and I fucking addicted to it. Because you learn with every fucking game. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I agree. I feel like what needs to be taught more is that losing isn't a bad thing. Like I feel like there's such a hard stigma that losing is like the ultimate worst thing you can do. And it should be taught in schools literally to say losing is a learning experience, not a negative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because as we mature and we get out into the real world, we're going to lose, and you have to be able to cope with
lot.
that and deal with it, and then pick yourself back up and then go win the next time.
But the
You know,
truth of it
try
is
anyway.
losing is more common than winning.
Yeah.
Like
But
you
nobody
lose
shows
way
you.
more than you win. Why
Yeah.
should that not be the norm
Yeah.
of like, yeah, we lose and winning happens once in a while. Like it should be embraced that you lose and you lose and you lose until you win.
Can you learn with the win?
You
can learn what
you
to
learn with
do,
both.
but not as much. I feel like it doesn't sting as bad.
I don't know which movie it was, but there was a quote. You know what oh fuck man, it was.
It's gonna come to him later and he's gonna yell it out loud.
Yeah. No, I got it. A loser is someone who's so afraid of losing that he's not even trying.
Hmm.
And
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I love that quote.
Yeah.
Because that brings it to the point. It's not the problem to lose.
Yeah.
So we all agree it's underrated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next, we have walking.
It's underrated.
Underrated.
Yeah. Nature and shit. Nature and acid. Yeah.
It's over. Nope, I'm not even gonna answer. Nature and shit is all that said. Fucking, that's your next shirt. Hopefully, I'm gonna make one that just says nature and shit, and I'm gonna sell it. It'll be the collab between the two of us.
Oh yeah, but you don't forget the little acid in it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. How about YouTube?
Overrated.
I don't know. I do learn a lot of stuff on YouTube, but it is too overused.
Overused is the right word. Yeah.
Overused for sure. Like my kid, there's a difference between me using YouTube because I'm constantly looking at educational content, or even just like me when I want to relax, I'm watching videos on something like a science video or a discovery of something or whatever. But my kids are watching like YouTubers that just spout nonsense all day, and it's like it's just dumb. Like,
I watch YouTube more than I watch television, and I think that it's underrated because, for example, I've just reduced how much sugar I consume, and so I didn't know how to go about doing that properly, or even why to, until I watched YouTube videos on it. Like I could watch it all day long on like diet nutrition, because I'm in a point in my life where that's really important to me. And so whatever it is that you're in, like whatever point in your life that interests you, or wherever you're at in life, if you're trying to learn about something, all you do is go on YouTube and there's going to be a video. It may be wrong information.
Oh, you have to weed through a lot to figure out what's good and what's bad. Like you can't trust
but it's
the
there.
first video.
Like in history, we never had this at our fingertips. It doesn't matter what time of day or night. You can find out something,
you can learn anything.
Yeah, you can. Instead of going to the library or whatever, going to school, which we all agree we hated.
Books are stupid. Stupid ass books.
All right, ready? Next, we have avocados.
Gross.
I like them, but I don't like the environmental impact it has.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
They cut down the rainforest to make plantations. So, and those fucking trees need a lot of years to grow and a lot of water, and then they ship them around the fucking globe. So I stopped eating them years ago. We ate them a lot, and then we realized that, and I think, well, they're not so important for me. So
you're clearly overrated for you.
Yeah.
Next, we have water-based ink.
That's touchy. I'm gonna go middle ground on this one.
Yeah.
Properly rated.
I feel like it depends on the person. If it's overrated or underrated.
Yeah.
I feel like some people it's a hype machine, and some people it's like, I just want the print to be good. And I think I'm more on the agreement of it works for some jobs and doesn't work for others. Like I would rather do whatever tool or method makes the best print for the artwork.
I like the combination, which crystals out with Magna Colors, the HSA underbase, and Plastisol on top.
Yeah.
I really love this combination.
That's awesome.
All right, last but not least, Uber.
We don't have Uber here.
Do you have any ride share things over there? Just taxis?
Yeah, taxis.
Taxis, but Uber doesn't exist here. I guess
Munich, it's the next city with Uber.
Big cities, they are. I guess Berlin or Munich. They have that.
They have it,
but it's not very common here.
I don't have it where I live because I live in the middle of nowhere. But in all the cities, it's all Uber. Again, from being here and not having it, and then traveling a lot, Uber has been the best thing ever because I don't have to rent a car. I can just go from place to place, and it's real quick. It's easy. I'll have a driver in like a minute. I like it a lot. I also Uber just saved and that was the story we didn't get to talk about, Andy, which is fucking insane. Was I just flew back from my trip, and there was some weather in the south, and my flight took off, and it got delayed because of the weather. I had to like fly around all this weather, and I landed at the same time that my next flight from Atlanta was boarding, and it was like 2 terminals over. So I ran through the airport, which me running is not a fucking pretty thing. And so I ran through 2 terminals, through a train, got to the gate where the airplane was, and it fucking left the thing that you walk through 4 minutes before I got there.
Ah,
So I fucking missed my connection. And then Delta said that the next flight I could take was at 10 p.m. the next day, which it was already 10 p.m. So it was 24 hours later I could get another flight out of Atlanta. So I'd be stuck. So here I am like, dude, what the, like, I'm fucked. Like, I have no way to get back. So I turn around, and I start walking, and I look over to my left, and I see a gate that has a flight to Rochester. And I was like, holy shit, like I could get on this flight. So I run over, and they just finished boarding. And I was like, hey, like I just missed this flight to Syracuse. Do you have a flight to Rochester? Like, you have a seat? And she's like, show me your pass. I showed her. She's like, yep, here you go. Get on. I ran down the thing, got on the plane, flew to Rochester, got to Rochester at 2 a.m. and my car's in Syracuse. So here I am. I'm like, oh, I'll just rent a car. I'll drive to Syracuse. I'll get in my car, whatever. No rental cars. Like, it's all shut down. No, nothing. So here I am like, cool. I have no way to get to Syracuse. So get on Uber, and this is where Uber comes in. I get on Uber, and it got turned down like 3 or 4 times. Like, nobody wanted to drive me basically an hour and 45 minutes in an Uber.
At 2 a.m. or something.
At 2 a.m. from Syracuse to Rochester. Finally, this dude accepts it, and it's a guy from Turkey, and he is driving a Nissan Altima. Fucking pulls up, he gets out of the car, he's like, Syracuse? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, you're killing me. I think what happened is he's sitting there, and he accidentally hit accept.
Oh.
And like, instead of decline. So he was like, whatever, it is what it is. It was $180 Uber ride.
Oof.
crazy.
So anyway, I walk up to his car. He's like, oh, sit in the front with me, which is like weird for an Uber. And the dude's from Turkey, and it's really hard to understand him. So anyway, I'm tired. I'm like falling asleep. I get in the front seat, and this dude's like, want a Red Bull? He like handed me a Red Bull, and I was like, nah, I'm good. And then it was an hour and a half of this dude telling me about his family trips to Disney World. And here I am. I just want peace and quiet. I just want to fall asleep. Like, it's 4 a.m. at this point. So this dude drives me to Syracuse. I get there. I get my car. I drive an hour home. I got home at 5:30 in the morning. And so when we talk about Uber being overrated or underrated, I'm saying underrated because I got an hour and a half ride on Uber and made a friend from Turkey.
What a story.
And he got me home. So Uber, I appreciate you.
I do too. I love Uber.
Okay.
I think it is either, like you said, properly rated or maybe slightly under.
Yeah. Do you have any AI questions? Do you have anything else, or?
No, we got, if do you have any questions for us?
Yeah. You got something?
You for your jobs you have production sheets or something else, or
As far as like a mock-up, or like a, you mean like in production instructions sheet on how to print a job?
Yeah. I mean that. And how detailed do you write this job?
Ours are very detailed. We have the mock-up, we have the placement instructions, we have all the Pantones, and then we have any notes, like Andy was saying, if it's like, we want to do 2 passes of this, or we added a flash here, or we, anything that we ended up doing with the job, we note back on it. So if you have to do a reprint, it's there. But we do that, and we send it to the customer for approval, just so that we all are on the same page of how we're doing this job. Not just like, because for years we just sent a mock-up, like just a picture of what the shirt should look like, and they would say, yep, looks good. But we had so many customer complaints or errors over the years where it was like, but what about this? Or the placement was wrong, or this and this, that I got to the point where I put everything on there. And then the error rate went way, way down. Like, we almost overnight stopped customers complaining or issues with orders because of just stupid notes that they didn't know. So we put everything on there.
Mhm.
Andy, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, we're the same as far as our proofs. And then I think we have, if it's a basic print job, then we don't put additional notes. Like there's no print order. You can just decide as a press operator where you want to print your screens and things like that. But anything that's complicated, then we have a separate, the customer never sees that part. We have a separate, a diagram of a press and then where we want the screens to go and what, like if let's say it's going to spin twice, we'll say, revolution number 1 is going to get the underbase and da-da-da. We'll kind of spell it out what we think is the best way to do it. And then for a certain customer, one we print very often for, we take it one step further and we print an actual physical sample and we store it here. And so we have it.
Mm.
And so that when we go to reprint that, it's very important because, and we did this because we lost once. And so we learned, we like, wait a second, we messed this job up. We switched our print order from last time. It looks completely different. How are we going to avoid this next time besides writing it on our diagram? Well, we're going to keep an actual physical shirt here. And then we'll also look at that, like at the end of the dryer to say, yes, we have it right before we say go in production. And so we actually keep a shirt to look at. Sort of like you were saying, I think, because you said that you put a magnet. We have that shirt during the print run. You said you put a magnet and you take that test print and you put it on the dryer. But we kind of do that too with that specific customer, just so so it's always the same because they do a lot of reorders, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You have any other questions or anything you want to talk about? Doesn't have to be a question.
What are your thoughts about equipment like Stampinator, double squeegee, or double sleeve pellets?
Ooh, do you want to go, Andy? Because I know what I want to say.
Yeah, go for it.
I think some of them are overrated or underrated. No,
Yeah. There you go.
they're too overrated.
So like double squeegee, that's overrated.
I think they're too. It's something that someone had a little bit of an issue with and made a product for.
Mhm.
I think that the double squeegee, if you just use the correct pressures and the correct angle and the correct squeegee blade,
correct mesh
and the correct mesh, you don't need a double squeegee. But I
Mhm.
feel like it's one of those tools where someone was like, well, if I didn't have the right this and the right this, then I could just use this tool for everything. Like it's like those people who go buy kitchen gadgets that's like, oh, you can microwave and deep fry and this makes your breakfast for you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those where it's like it works, but like really if you just use the right tool, like you probably wouldn't have to have that.
you can
I
either
feel
spend your money on a piece of equipment, an accessory, let's say. You can spend your money on that, or you can buy better mesh, better screens with better micron thread with a better percentage opening that there's no reason that you would need to double print or a double squeegee or anything like that. And so if you don't have that though, it's a nice tool to grab off your shelf and throw in your screen and make a job work. So there's no question about that. I mean, I agree with that. But in the long run, if you really want to fix your problem, I think that there's a different way.
Yeah.
As far as like the dual sleeve, those are cool if they work. We've tested a ton of them. Like we reached out to I won't name the company, but we reached out to a company and tried like 4 or 5 different ones. And the result ended up being like, I feel like you get one because you're like, oh, I could do 2 sleeves at the same time, or I could do this, or I can speed up production. But really what ends up happening is one of them ends up getting bent slightly. And then you go to print and you have like good pressure and off contact on one side and the other side's fucked up. And stuff like that. And plus some of them add in like 3 or 4 steps to setting up because you have to put in extra clamps or a hook to hold the garment and like all these other things. What we ended up doing is we ended up just buying a better single pallet that had the correct like width on it. So we weren't stretching garments or whatever. And then once we did that, we ended up having way better results. So it's kind of going back to, again, like what is the actual problem? Like, are you just trying to skip 5 steps or are you trying to like actually fix the problem? So I think the answer to all that stuff is like maybe do your research and figure out what the root of the problem is before you just buy a tool to mask all those problems.
Yeah.
And maybe
So-
it's a budget thing too. So like, I know that we first purchased and we still have and still run to this day a roller squeegee.
I was going to say
So-
there are some that are like,
Mhm.
yeah, fuck yeah, like these rule, but like there's some that are just like, this isn't necessary.
Agree.
And Stampinator, you both don't have a Stampinator, right?
I want one.
Yes and no. We're trying some things. The problem is that I'm finding that they only really work well on a heads down press.
Yeah.
So like we have two Sportsmans and the G3, and it works on the G3. I mean, it works on the other presses, but there's limitations and there's weird stuff. Like I can put it on the Sportsman, but if I'm doing a job that has an uneven amount of shirts and there's going to be pallets that are open, I have to
Yeah.
put test shirts on the pallets so that the pallet itself doesn't go up and touch the Stampinator, or it will like
Yeah.
leave stuff on it or fuck it up or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like stupid stuff like that, or like, you know, if I'm gonna load hoodies with zippers, it's in the way of the Stampinator, and like I have to take Stampinator out or like all those other things. So if you have a heads down press, then it only comes down when it's needed and it works, and you know, whatever. So that's the thing, is a lot, I feel like a lot of people that use that are doing it on a rock press or a heads down M&R press, but they're, you know, heads down M&R presses are only somewhat newer, unless you have like a G3 or a Cobra or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's mostly the reason why. That's why we use hot heads for so long, is because
Yeah.
it works, because it only turns on when you need it to turn on. But we are about to get something like that for the G3.
Yeah.
And you're in the situation you described, or the scenario you described, wouldn't the hothead also just print a pallet if you didn't have a shirt there?
Yeah, but you wouldn't it wouldn't be on. It would be like a print head. Like you wouldn't print empty pallets.
Yeah.
The hot head's only printing when you're telling it to.
Right, but same with I mean, you have to put the Stampinator in let me think about that.
It's the
you're
same thing. It
saying
only
on
prints when it's supposed to.
or you're saying on the Sportsman, when the pallets raise up, the carousel comes up, it would
Yeah.
press into the Stampinator.
Yeah.
Always, you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay,
same
got it.
reason why, like, if you were doing, say you were doing a print job and you left the screens on press, and then you just
Mhm.
set up another print job with the other screens still on press,
hmm
you might have pickup from,
Mhm.
you know, other screens that are
Like
unwanted
if it's
on that
fleece
shirt.
or something, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to take them down. But on a heads down press, like the Gauntlet, I could set up 5 jobs on that thing if I wanted to, and it wouldn't affect any of the other prints because they're never going to touch the back of the screen.
Got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, we got
that's-
a Nikes for the Sportsman. It's pretty much the same. I guess it came out earlier a bit, but yeah,
they don't have that anymore.
yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah, that's something we were talking about on the G3 is it should have had an iKiss feature on it because of the
Yeah.
iKiss,
Right.
but they took it away because they got rid of it. So now what we had to do is we have to have an extended frame so we can trick it to say we can change the duration of the stamp being down with the travel of the squeegee behind it.
Yeah.
So we can just set it to a slow squeegee speed, and then we can trick it to be down for that amount of time.
Yeah.
But if it had the iKiss feature on there, we could be like, oh, we're just gonna stamp for this amount of time. But they don't have that on there anymore, which is something I feel like they should bring back. They should just have a stamp feature to where if somebody
course,
wants
yeah.
a stamp, they can put it in.
And Stampinator is getting really spread on the market right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are buying it. Yeah.
I do like it for sure. I mean, I like this any brand version. I like the stamp because it does definitely elevate the quality of the print for sure.
Yeah. And
Well,
and for DTF and transfer, it's amazing to print 400. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, Andy, because you said you make a lot of DTF now, and you have 3 heat presses. Why don't make it over an automatic press when you can make like 400 prints an hour easy? I guess you can make 400 on a heat press by hand.
So my answer to that is we don't have capacity on our presses.
Uh,
So it would take time, right? And I want to keep I think those presses are meant to screen print. And if you wanted to get an automatic oval or carousel, let's say, press, they make those. And I would just separate that from screen printing because our screen printing is really just set up for screen printing, and we don't have time to put a job in that's going to be transferred. I would say that we bought 3 heat presses. Maybe a better purchase would have been a carousel, like you said, instead. But at the time, my thinking was I could set one up to do sleeves, for example, as far as palette changeovers go, because we don't want to do any hip prints or leg prints or even any sleeve prints ever again on screen printing, like ever at all. We want to shift that all to transfers when possible.
My only concern, and I've brought this up to multiple people, and some of them have good answers, some don't, is the travel. Like if you're laying a shirt down or any garment and you put a piece of paper or like a screen printer transfer or as a film or something on it and you line it up right where you want it because it's in front of you, the travel of the press spinning to the next station, I feel like is going to either blow the transfer around or move it, or the placement's going to get fucked up. You never have that issue?
No,
or
never had that issue. So far we made a handful of jobs on it because it was a bigger, a higher volume. And the biggest one was 200 shirt front back.
600?
600? Yeah.
That's awesome.
There were
it's
traveling. But I thought so as well. Yeah.
To me, it's kind of like driving Uber in a Ferrari, though, because you have a $100,000 screen printing press to do transfers when you could just buy our presses cost like
you can buy like a $900 heat press. Yeah,
of course.
So, but if you have space issues, then yes, or if you want to go fast and you're only doing so many jobs, then it makes sense in certain situations. I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just I would rather do it off press.
Yeah, for sure.
3 things that you do to start your day.
Well, I woke up and then
wine,
and then coffee, and then porridge.
Porridge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever had porridge ever.
Is that like oatmeal or something?
Yes, and with fruits, mostly.
What about you?
I take a big sip of water, take a deep breath, and make 50 push-ups. That's my starting routine.
Yes.
50 push-ups right off the bat.
That.
Without breakfast.
You do 50 push-ups in a row, or do you do like 25, then 25?
No, 50 in a row.
Do you do fancy ones? Do you like clap or one-hand it, or?
Not yet. but I like to make them naked, if that matters.
So that's a 3-point system.
Yeah.
That's extra help. All right.
That's my trilog.
Right. You're doing cock push-ups.
Yeah.
What would be an unhappy meal for you? What is a meal that you guys despise?
Now for you, it's coconut, right?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
the change in his demeanor when he said coconut.
What the fuck?
He was like,
you almost throw up.
Yeah. Is it, well, that's the question with coconut though. Is it the flavor or is it the consistency? Like, is it a texture thing?
It's the flavor because as a child I ich habe irgendwie schlechte Kokosnuss gegessen und musste kotzen halt.
Yeah, he needed to throw up because he ate a molded coconut.
Yeah.
And since then I can't.
Yeah. That's funny because I have that rule too, that like if I eat something before I throw up, like if I get sick later that night, that food is dead to me. I can't eat it ever again. Like it's
for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fully get you on that.
That's a survival instinct. It makes sense.
Yeah. What about you? What's your food?
Everything with cinnamon and
cinnamon.
Yeah. And rice pudding. This is an old meal from the from the DDR,
from the East German.
German. We are both from this part where behind the wall. And
they
there
give
were
you rice
other
pudding
rules in the
instead?
kindergarten, and so you had to eat your meal. So even if you throw up, you have to clean the plate. So as a fucking child, so I threw up a couple of times, and they didn't care. So and now I can't eat all those shit.
All the food from those days.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right, 1 press or 10 presses?
Oh, one press.
One press.
Or one big press.
One big press,
One
yeah.
big press,
A
yes.
12, 14 color as we want to go is everything we need.
You just need to buy that G4.
We would like to. We wanted a challenge of 3 was in the offer because they can print like 70 to 100 centimeter, the big format,
Mhm.
but it's double the price as a rock for the same features, and yeah, no brainer. Why would I do that?
There you go.
I didn't know they made challengers still.
What are you watching, reading, or listening to right now?
I don't look shows. I only read books.
So when I said fuck books, you were just sitting there like, yeah, I really like books.
Let me show your collection.
Yeah. I read a book from Netherlands, and the title is "Human is a Good Human."
And is it good though? Are you realizing that humans are good humans?
Yeah. He have interesting theories, I guess. Yeah.
Stuff to open your mind a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like stuff like that too.
Ich will sagen, dass zum Beispiel den Zweiten Weltkrieg behandelt und
yeah, he talks a lot about the Second World War and
ja, und zerschießt ziemlich viele bekannte Theorien. Also so.
And destroys a lot of different theories about.
Yeah, there is one theory, I guess, 10 Studenten, ich glaube in den 70er Jahren, 10 Studenten sind die Wärter und 10 Studenten sind die Häftlinge.
Yeah. An experiment with 10 students, and 10 students are the inmates, and 10 students are the prosecutor. No,
the guards.
The guards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he mean it was a theater, not science.
Yeah, that there's this theory that you can bring people into position when you give power to people, that they misuse it.
Corrupt.
Yeah.
And he destroys this theory because he says it's more like a theater than an experiment, because the variables and control group and so on. Yeah,
I agree. What about you?
Like,
are you a TV watcher?
Not anymore. I used to watch a lot of movies and shows, and I suddenly realized how much time I wasted. And I wanted to get more and more into art again, because in my youth I was painting a lot and do graffiti stuff and so on. And at one point I realized I'm wasting my time, and this time won't come back. And it was the same time where I realized the more time I spend doing something, the more I learn something, and the better I will get. And yeah, here I am, like 10, 15 years later, and I recently started painting again because I had a little break because of my newborn, and it fulfills me so much that I don't have time anymore. But there's one show left from the old times, because I was a comic book child, and The Walking Dead, for example, I love the comic book, and if you're into the books, you want to see the show, how they
right
make things. So now it's Fear the Walking Dead last season. I just watched this because I have to find an end
Right. And
It's
it's
not
never going
because
to
I
end
like it
they,
or so. Yeah, it's just
they just made another show. They made another spinoff.
I guess there are coming 3 another spin-offs. Yeah, I wrote them already. Stop it and go fuck yourself, but they won't listen.
Just because you want to stop watching TV.
Yeah, but I was never a book guy like you, and I've gone through some tough times, and I've started reading novels like old literature. Old literature, and like Kafka and Hermann Hesse, and I've read like 5 books in the last 6 weeks or so from
Dang.
Hesse alone, and it's amazing. I'm not a reading guy at all. As long technical stuff, screen print stuff, I can absorb it.
Yeah.
But storytelling stuff is not my thing.
Yeah, I can't pull it in either.
Yeah.
My problem isn't that I hate reading, it's that I know I can't focus. Like I'm that guy where I read a paragraph and then my mind starts thinking about something. Yeah. And then I realize, like, what the fuck? Like, what am I have to read that paragraph over again. Yeah. That's me. So like it's not that I can't read, it's I just can't focus enough to read it.
Yeah.
All right. Andy, finish her off.
I have 2 questions to finish it off. And the first one is, how do you pronounce the name of your company and what does it mean?
It's pronounced, in German, we say Subucoola.
That's pretty much what we thought.
Yeah. And the meaning is, this was at the old Greeks, they were wearing these tunicas. You know what I mean? These long tunicas, and beneath that there was the Subucoola. It was like an undershirt. It was the first shirt, you could say. So,
so they had togas on. We call them togas, I think. And then underneath that there was a t-shirt,
like an undergarment.
Yeah.
And they called it a Subucoola.
Yeah, like it's from Latin. Sub is down, under. Yeah.
That's
the
cool.
roots.
Yeah, it's like the roots of the shirt.
That's cooler.
Yeah.
All right. Final question. What's for dinner?
Oh.
Today?
What are we going to do?
Pasta.
Hummus?
Pasta or pizza.
Hummus?
Oh,
Hummus with potatoes. Why not?
The best part about this isn't what you guys are talking about. It's that you're gazing into each other's fucking souls and you're like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it? Pizza or pasta? What are you having?
Hummus.
Yeah. Good idea.
Hummus. I guess is there another pronunciation in
so just
English?
Hummus? Like you're just gonna have
hummus?
Yeah.
Hummus. Yeah.
Yes.
With what? Like that's
hummus isn't
potatoes.
a meal. That's a snack.
With potatoes.
Yeah, with potatoes. That's why.
And a lot of hummus.
Yeah. Cheese and.
All right, that's the appetizer. What's the meal?
Wine.
There
a
you
lot
go.
of potatoes and a lot of hummus.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Finish off
more hummus
with a little bit of coconut at the end.
Yeah.
Cinnamon on coconut.
That's gross.
Molded coconut.
We're really glad we could work this out with you guys. I've loved watching your guys' shop for a long time. I really appreciate what you guys are trying to do with the retail stuff, the giving back, the donating, all that stuff. It's fucking awesome. So I applaud you for continuing that and working towards just like downsizing and being happy.
Yeah.
So thanks guys for coming on. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. It's so nice to finally face to face. We've been talking on Instagram for so long, and here you are, and we're having this conversation. So I liked it a lot. Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you very much for having us. It was a great honor because listener since show 1, and
hell yeah,
I love the way you create community, and you're a very good example of
networking.
Especially after 3 years now, what you've created. It's just amazing. Yeah, and I hope that we can do this in Germany too. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks
for
guys.
that.
Have a good day.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.